Whoopi Goldberg, Nicole Wallace, Rosie Perez, and Rosie O'Donnell. It all starts now on The View.
Hello, I was just trying to loosen my back up. I had to move my ass and make my back work. Hello and welcome to The View. Here's an eye-opener. 75% of kids 18 and under are drinking some sort of caffeine every single day, and experts say it can affect the brain development of adolescents. Energy drinks and sodas are everywhere, but should there be an age limit? Oh, my God.
I'm not thinking about the brain in this moment. I'm thinking about sleep, and I would say no caffeine for my 2.5-year-old. I mean, you know, when it's anything keeping them up.
Well, I think 2.5, that's pretty much a good rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I think for teenagers, it's harder.
Yeah.
Because like my daughter, Chelsea, is 17, and she must ask me 10 times a day to go to Starbucks.
Right.
And I actually never tasted coffee.
Right.
I don't like the smell of coffee.
Right.
I don't like to be around anyone whose breath smells like coffee.
Right.
So it has been a challenge for me to accommodate her caffeine needs while not being nauseated.
Right.
Do you drink any caffeine, though? Or do you drink Diet Coke?
Tea,
Yeah.
I drink, I have to stay away from soda, which, if you've had a heart attack and you got sugar issues, one of the worst things you could do is soda.
So, as the Latin here,
I have to say it.
I live for coffee. Boricuas. Thank you. Thank you. Every single morning, I gotta make my cafe bustelo.
Everybody knows what that is. What?
Yes, everybody.
What is that?
New
You don't know
Yorkers
what
know
cafe
cafe
I heard you say it. No. What is it?
Nicole. It's one of the best fine espresso coffee in the world, and I was raised on it.
All right.
I was raised on it. It was
what age, though?
Well, 4.
Oh, my God. Really?
But yes, really, but it was mostly warm milk, and we would have it on holidays, and it was a nice, treat with the export soda crackers, and we dipped them, delicious. And I loved it, and everyone said that's why I'm short, which is not true. Coffee does not stunt your growth. But, in saying that, I am addicted to coffee.
Right.
Me too.
But I don't think it's appropriate for children.
Right. I don't drink it. I don't drink it.
No caffeine now?
Never. Me.
No, it's just, my mother had to have her coffee.
Yeah.
Her coffee.
And so that's why you don't, because you never.
No, I just wasn't my thing. I liked other stuff that,
Want good?
But let me just say this. It's the other stuff also should not be imbibed by children either. I just want to put that out. Now, Rosie, fabulous morning. A very nice one. Tell everybody what happened.
Oh, well, on my way to work every day, my wife, Michelle, makes me my breakfast. And today, when I opened my tinfoil, there was a surprise. I had my Tinkerbell and the Great Fairy plate. There it is. And as I was looking at it on the way here, when I should have been reading the notes, I just wanted to talk about how great this DVD is. And I was thinking, how can it be as good as it is? Because all the voices and everything. Then I found out who's in it. Is played by Mae Whitman from Parenthood.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Rosetta, Kristen Chenoweth. Okay? Okay? Fawn, America Ferrara.
Yeah.
Silver Mist, Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
Vidia, Pamela Alden. And even though Vidia is kind of the mean one, she's still good. Periwinkle, Lucy Hale. And the Queen, Angelica Houston.
Yes.
So it is a great new series where they reintroduce Tinkerbell, and I just highly recommend, if you don't get the plate, get in the car today. My daughter came to work with me, and when I got home last night, she's 17, Chelsea, wonderful, beautiful girl, and when I got home last night, I said, how you doing, honey? And she gave me the stare, and she's like, well, fine, since you ignored me all day. And I was like, what? Apparently, she texted me during the show, the live show. And so I hear the buzz, I take it out, and I'm panicking. And she writes, "Hey, Mom, just wanted to say hi. I feel relief." And then I text back, "Hi, I'm working now." Which I think was like, you know, and okay. And she's like, okay. And she's like, that hurt my feelings. Sometimes you text and you don't realize
because there's no context.
Exactly. So now so I don't hurt her feelings, it's like, "Hi, I'm at work. I love you very much. Heart, 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 send." Yeah. Gotta do it, right?
Yeah. I sent an email once. And I spelt my husband's name wrong in the email. I was just, same thing, really. I was waiting for Fresh Direct. I had a baby on my arm. The dog was crying. You know, typical, like at home mom doing 11 things at once. And I sent up an email really quick, like, "Hey, I'll meet you at 7. And I spelled his name, Mark, with a C instead of a K. And he was mad at me for 2 weeks. So I am not a fan of electronic communication.
Yeah. Like a phone call.
Me too. Me
After
too.
6 o'clock.
You don't get the name wrong in a phone call.
Well, no. And people hear you what you're saying. They can hear your tone.
Stop and talk to you. They're not doing 10 things.
I like that. I mean, you know, I don't have an answering machine on my answering machine either. I mean, it says you can leave a message, but it's a lie.
Really?
It's a lie.
You know, I remember when I got my dad his first one, and he has a Brogue, and he couldn't figure out how to leave a message.
Yeah.
So when you'd call, it would ring, and then it would pick up, and you'd hear, "Mary, how the hell did you use the stupid piece?" Because he couldn't get it, you know?
Hey. Colorado high school students staged a walkout to protest a new curriculum in history class that promotes patriotism. Now, the board says they want students to see America as a good country, as do we all. But students say they should not downplay the dark chapters in American history. History should be taught the proper way so they can become patriotic. I kind of think that they've got some valid points.
Yeah, I do too. I'm patriotic, believe it or not, I am. But my issue is people of color have been omitted from the textbooks. And I'm not just, yes, there's Native Americans mentioned in history books, and there's African Americans, but they are Latin Americans here, there are Chinese Americans here, there are a lot of us that have been here for a very, very, very long time. And I think that as a person growing up, it would just, what are you saying? I don't count? My people, our history did not count here in America? It should be included, and it should be changed. And it's not to say that, you know, it should just dominate the history, because that would be false as well. But just, you know what? Put us in there as well. We are Americans as well, and we should be part of the history.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
I mean, when you look at the accomplishments, you know, when I was in school, pretty much we knew a black guy sort of invented the peanut.
That's right.
But nobody was clear what was going on with the peanut. It was just a black man and a peanut. And that was all you got. You know, you didn't get the information about the women who were working at NASA. You know, the human computers. They weren't included in education. Education was just about American history, they said. But American history is such a vast history. It encompasses so many people that it's a shame. It's like you're hateful to the country if you don't include the history of America.
And the protesting that what I love about this story is this is not coming from the top down. This is the learned about an attempt to, in their view, manipulate what was in the books. And they are doing the most patriotic thing of all by taking to the streets and protesting. And you bet your last dollar that they're going to know the whole story. Because they've done their homework and they know what should be in there. And I'm really impressed. And I'm really impressed. And I'm very hopeful that we're sort of one of the benefits of the information age is that they're gonna change this
anymore.
No.
And you know what? We're going to change a topic, because I know this seems strange to many people. Jessica Simpson's husband, former football star Eric Johnson, has really freaked people out with this photograph where he's launching their 14-month-old baby Ace into the air. Okay, so I see that y'all are a little freaked out too, but Rosie, you were talking about something that you did.
You know, if I was as strong as him, I would get my baby up that high.
They love it.
Here's a paparazzi photo of me that they took. Now listen, I'm a little old and I can't really get her up that high, but I didn't really like the chopped it and then told everyone on my Facebook, look, I got rid of the flab on my arm, I got rid of my tummy. And I put it back up a little improved. You know, babies love that, and I think parents really do know what the limits are of the pet. The guy's a professional football player. I don't think he's going to drop the baby. And also, it's in water, you know. Right. I think it's fine, but I know some people, including my wife, she stood at the beach and go, oh my God! You know, it's her first baby, so she's a little nervous.
Yeah.
Me, it's like, woo!
I understand. You know, because then you have people who are not professional football players who are going to say, oh, he did it, I could do it too. We're happy.
Yeah.
So you just have to be careful.
Yeah, well, I hope he was successful.
I think he was.
Good. Because you don't want it with like a bad football player. Throw it. Anyway, we'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Still ahead, Michael Strahan GMA, live with Kelly and Michael, NFL Sunday, and 4 kids.
You know, this Sunday night is the fourth season premiere of the hit show Once Upon a Time at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central here on ABC. And I don't know, Rosie, but what are you called?
I think it's Elsa.
Okay.
And she was born not cursed with that ability to freeze things, but she's never frozen an SUV before. So
See?
I'm going to be binge watching, and I will tune in on Sunday and become a fan as I...
Recent New York Magazine article looks at why people hate watch TV. Personalities they can't stand or hate read articles by people they're politically opposed to. One theory is that it convinces them that they are right without having to actually argue with anybody. Do you guys hate watch or any of these things?
Everybody in my life watches TV that enrages them. All my Republican friends watch Bill Maher As It Happens every Friday night, and all of my Democratic friends watch more Fox than anyone that's Republican that I know.
I don't watch anything that I don't agree with or believe in. I'm like, what? Sorry, click. You know, I don't have time. I don't know.
Well, I watch sometimes Fox News because... Why does someone laugh? Okay,
I thought you were
I watch Fox News because I want to have a conversation with my sister Carmen because she's obsessed with Fox News, and it's not that I always agree with the opinion of that network, but I just want to have a honest conversation with her and know what she's talking about and her point of view. But it's not, you know, because that's silly. I don't understand that.
Yeah. See, I just talk to my friends. If I want to know about something, I ask them. So I'd rather talk to my friends and say, what do you think of that? Am I crazy? And sometimes they say, And sometimes they say no. And it's always my friends that saying no to me are the ones I think are going to say, oh, how can you? Of course you believe that. That's not how it works. So I love that.
But the conversation that's being had most of the time is with the individual and their television screen or their computer screen. So they are just like this, and it's really weird. And I don't understand it. Sometimes I want all those trolls to come out of the closet, show me, talk to me.
Well, no, but you know what?
And they don't have the courage to do it. So I don't get it.
It's totally corrupted our politics, though, because I think this is where a lot of the hate comes from. And I think people, it's not just hate watching. I think then they take to Twitter. You know, I'm obsessed with all. You can do one nice thing, send something nice into the universe. But the hate watching leads to hate tweeting, which leads to, I mean, I think it's part of this very unhealthy kind of connection people have to hate and rage about TV and about politics.
I have a fight with my wife almost every night because she is a Discovery, like, addict. Oh, my God, addict. She, in the first 3 seconds, she could tell, oh, I saw this one. That's where the husband kills the daughter after it. And the dog was found with the evidence in the pool. I'm like, she knows, oh, this one was also on 48 Hours, too. She knows them all. And I'm like, doesn't that get into your psyche if that's what you ingest? She's like,
I don't consider that hate watching.
Well, to me, it's scare watching, you know.
No, but, you know, my daughter's the same way. She can tell you everybody who's doing what on what show, and she watches IG. I cannot watch it because I'm always afraid I'm going to see somebody I know. Or worse, somebody I lived with. It's like, this is why...
You were going somewhere else. I'm like, oh, I'm going to connect on this because I am so afraid. I thought you were going to go that I'm going to get hurt. You know, that I know one of those people.
That's doing the crazy stuff. You know, it's like that Stephen King movie.
Oh,
You know,
terrifying.
Terrifying.
It's this You'll see. It's coming out. Go see it. Anyway, there's a website that's devoted to cleaning up the skies called PassengerShaming.com. People can anonymously post photos of fellow air travelers who are behaving bizarrely. And these are some of the people. And I will say this again. Does anybody wonder why I don't fly? Because, you know, she put her legs up and you hear, I don't want that.
Is that a picture?
It's somebody pooping in the thing. I don't want to see that.
Baby.
I don't want the baby. I don't want to watch your baby poop in the middle of the thing. I just can't handle it. You know?
Let's see that person? That could be me. Just so you know. I always take off my shoes. I usually have clogs on, and I feet in the corner like a... When I saw some of these photos, I was shamed because, I mean, I have a tattoo, so it wasn't me exactly. It wasn't me exactly.
That's
not me.
No, that's not you.
I don't think that's me.
Please.
No, that's not.
But it's like, all right, that's enough shaming. We'll be right back with the amazing, fabulous Michael Strahan.
Next, Michael Strahan's talking about everything from NFL scandals to his record as a celebrity match.
People who watch morning shows, daytime talk, and NFL football all have one thing in common. They love this man, and so do we. Please welcome Michael Strahan. Yes.
Oh, so look at me, them.
Right?
Michael, when do you sleep?
When do I sleep? The second I get off air. Right now, when I know you know. You know what? I get plenty of sleep. I think it's the illusion. I think it's an illusion that I work as hard as I do.
Really?
At least in my head, that's so that I can keep going. But I love all my jobs. So the fact that I love them, I don't mind waking up. I don't mind waking up. I don't mind being there, and I don't mind being engaged. And I guess maybe it's the athlete in me. It's like training and trying to show that you can do something. That it keeps me going.
And your dad saw that in you when you were a little boy and moved you to the U.S.?
Yeah, when I was a little boy, and I was 13, I started working out, and my brothers called me Bob, which meant booty on back, so I had a big butt. And but it made me work out when I was 13. It's not that funny.
I'm just saying, it's still there.
It ain't going nowhere. It is what it is.
Listen, booty is booty, it stays.
But it made me work out because I didn't want to be the chunky kid. At least I thought I was at 17. I worked out with my dad for like 4 years. When I was 17, he sent me back to Texas to live with my uncle.
Where were you?
He said, you're in Houston. And he said, you're going to get a football scholarship. And I was like, okay. I was naive, and he never told me that it wouldn't work, so I never doubted myself, and I had one scholarship. Oh, y'all showing pictures now.
You look the same.
Yeah, that's me at Westbury High School. The hair is a little different.
You look good, though. No, but seriously, you obviously take great care of yourself. What's the, and that's about health, right? You work in television. What do you, you gonna want to share any secrets?
Well, one of the toughest things I think when you're used to always athletes, you see guys, a lot of guys blow up when they're done, for lack of a better word, because you stop exercising, you stop doing the little things. So for me, it always has been a challenge to just stay on top of it, and it hasn't been as easy as I thought it was going to be. So I try to do little things every day. I mean, instead of, walking to the table and grabbing a cookie, I keep the Meta health bars in my bag. I do take Metamucil. I do things like that. Metabiotics. I do things.
You work out, right?
I work on the inside to help the outside.
That's
There you go.
But you got to work on it. Yeah, you got to work on it.
You know, my dad took Musil every day of his life. He never looked as good as you.
But, Michael, a little-known fact, Rosie's dad was black.
He didn't play in the NFL.
That explains a lot.
Exactly. So what about all these head injuries in the NFL? Like, is that with everybody coming out saying about their heads getting hurt with concussions? What do you feel about having done it so long?
It's part of the game. I don't know if you can ever stop Stop it. I think now they've had so many rules that have been put in to try to remove guys from games and not let guys put themselves in danger by going back. But I remember guys getting a concussion. Next thing, the guy steals his helmet back and he runs on the field. Now that's not allowed. They get you off the field. They take your helmet. They make sure you don't go back in. I think they've tried to change the game to accommodate that, but it is a shame because it's one of the risks of playing the game. But the tough part is those guys and say, would you do it all over again? Of course they would.
They would, yeah.
It's like a risk-reward type of thing. And for me, it was worth the risk. And I was fortunate enough not to be the guy who had those type of things happen.
You have talents off the field, too, though. I understand you're quite a matchmaker. Can you who are some of the couples you... Well, no, so here's my question. I mean, that isn't together but should be.
Who isn't together that should be? Oh, that's a very good question.
I'm married.
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 Me too, but I'm just saying, I think this is a gift.
We got the hair.
We got the hair.
No, child.
But I've been
I think it's a gift you have. You've said it, people who are happily married. That's like a gift, like the sixth sense. You've got like the romance sense. So who isn't together but...
Oh, man, that's, I've hooked up Angie Harmon and Jason Sehorn.
Happily ever after.
Yeah, happily ever
Two most beautiful people. That was sort of obvious.
Also, Erin Andrews and Jared Stoll, the hockey star LA Kings, Erin Andrews.
Wow.
Who is not together that should be together? That's a very tough question. I mean, it's just...
Why you look... Oh.
She said me and her.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
How's your kids?
The kids are great. The kids are phenomenal. The kids are phenomenal.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You were inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, and I have to say, it was wonderful to watch you thank all the folks, but it was great to watch you thank your mom and your dad. And it really moved me. I was just so happy for you because you earned it, and I'm glad to see that bust of you with the gap.
With the gap,
yeah.
It was very important. And you and I had talked beforehand, and you were so nice to me. You always have been. And to make it into the Hall of Fame is it's something I couldn't imagine. I'm a kid. I'm in Germany.
Yeah.
How do you go from Germany to all of a sudden being in college and in the Hall of Fame? I never imagine it. So to do it with the people who supported me the most, my parents and my kids, and to have them all there was the biggest thrill of my life. Bigger than a Super Bowl, bigger than anything was to have them there. So I to do everything to represent my family and continue to try to make them proud. And I work like I work because if I can't tell my kids, if I can tell my card, how can I tell them without showing them? And so I just want to be a best.
Michael, from the time I met you, I don't know if you remember when we were in the nightclub and my cousin Sixto, we both fanned out on you. Nicest man. Yeah, we were getting on. But I want to thank you for coming here because you deserve everything that has been given to you.
Thank you.
And our thanks to Michael Strahan.
Up next, Good Morning America's Tori Johnson shares her secrets to dropping 80 pounds.
Steals Tori Johnson has for them every week on Good Morning America. But if it seems like there's a little less of her to love lately, it's because she dropped 80 pounds. And yeah, right? And she tells us how in her new book, The Shift. Please welcome Tori Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm going to get... Hi, you guys.
Hi, Tori. How are you?
Fun in here. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being had. What are we doing here?
We are walking on a treadmill desk, and for the last 2.5 years, I've been on this healthy living kick, and I got so spooked when I read that sitting is the new tobacco, and I realized that I sit 8 to 10 I hate the idea of like going to work out in the gym, and so I thought, you know what, the one thing that I can do is buy a treadmill desk, and so this is exactly what I have, and this is what you would find me doing each day in my office. And so instead of sitting, I'm actually logging 4 to 6 miles a day.
And speed, like this, like slow in syrup, slow motion speed?
Yes, but you know, I'm not just standing chatting. I'm working on my computer, I'm on the phone, I'm doing my work. So this is the slowest I would go.
Excellent.
And I read the book. I finished it last night, and I love that this wasn't a book about some, you know, like a liquid diet or a juice fast. This is a book. You are so human in this book. You are so honest. You are so honest. I mean, I was rooting for you through the whole thing, but can you talk about how this started, the impetus, the aha moment?
So he said to me, I don't think you look your best. I don't think your clothes do you any justice. I'm going to send you to a stylist.
And how did you feel?
So what I heard... So what I heard, you know, shaking, terrified, nervous, and what I took away was...
You write about how you went home and you cried in the bathroom.
And what I thought was, lose weight or lose your job. That's what I took away. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me, because had I focused on my clothing, it would have been yet another gimmick rather than focused on the real issue, which was, for my whole life, I mean, I was... And when you don't want to be, you look for any way sort of out. And that conversation freed me to just finally figure it out. It's doable.
You know, people have said that to me in my careers, and I have always sort of reacted the opposite way.
Right. And you know what? I definitely could have been the person who said, oh, let them fire me. I'll go work someplace else. And yet what I had to do was dig deeper. And, you know, I realized that my job really wasn't on the line, and I wasn't taken off of television at all throughout that whole process. But I got deeper. I hadn't gone to the doctor in more than 10 years.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to lecture about my weight. Invitations would come in the mail for something, and instead of my friends are getting married, I'd think, oh my gosh, everyone's going to be wearing black tie dresses. I don't wear dresses. I'm not going. How do I get out of that? And
Oprah Winfrey writes about one of these huge moments being ruined for her. I think she was winning an Oscar or an Emmy, and all she could think of was, oh my God, what am I going to wear?
What am I going to wear? And I was sick of like being fed up like that. I didn't want to do that anymore.
So you were a chubby kid too?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm the girl who forged notes from my mom to get out of PE class. I'm the girl who is still scarred from Brian in history calling me a fat cow. Like,
oh God, let's look at the transformation though.
Oh
I think we have pictures before and after.
That's my brother and me.
I was going to say, did you also have a sex change? What is that boy doing there? That's your brother. Okay, all right.
Look at this. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this.
I'm going to ask you a question that maybe sounds weird to some people. Do you feel more vulnerable being smaller?
No, I feel alive and happy and healthier. Like going to the doctor when you haven't in 10 years, getting your first mammogram when you haven't done that ever. Right. Knowing that you can go into a dressing room and not leave a store frustrated because nothing fits.
But so what did you do to get here?
So I eat a whole lot less, okay, for starters, and I really cut carbs. For me, that was a thing, cutting carbs.
These look very carby, but they're not.
There's very little carbs here. This is all vegetable-based. These are all in the new version of The Shift. We put recipes in the book. This is all, even more than food and any of that stuff, was a mental commitment. The decision that I was going to change. No more diets, which are a temporary pause on bad behavior. This was a lifestyle change for me. So there's no end date. It's for good.
Yeah. What do we have right here, though? Because I'm going to...
Cauliflower. So, yeah, cauliflower mash.
Eat? I feel like I can't. I don't have the skill set to walk.
Maybe not with chopsticks.
You don't know if you can walk and eat?
No.
You have obviously never been an obese person, Nicole, because... Oscar-nominated and Emmy Award-winning actor Rory Kennedy has a brilliant new documentary called Last Days in Vietnam, and that's exactly what it's about. Take a look.
One by one, we jump out. I jumped out, my brother jumped out, my mom was holding my sister. Well, obviously very scared. And she just, just trustingly, just with one hand, with her right hand, holding on with her left to brace herself, dropped my baby sister.
One fellow standing there, and he said he looked up and he saw this big bundle of stuff come flying out, and it was a baby. It was the one-year-old baby.
Please welcome Rory. Rory, how are you? Good to see you. This is an amazing documentary, and the evacuation of the fall of Saigon is a pivotal memory in my childhood. I remember it vividly.
It's an extraordinary story, and it's surprising how few people know what happened during those final days. That I consider to be, you know, an extraordinary moment in our history. There are these extraordinary stories that very few people know about of Americans and Vietnamese doing everything they could to save South Vietnamese and to get them out of the country.
And these were the people that worked with the military side by side, and the military did not want to leave them behind, but they were instructed to do so, and they went against a presidential order, correct?
Well, they went against what was then U.S. policy, which was just to get the Americans out. There were about 10 Americans left in the country at this point. It was 2 years after the peace accord, so there was really just advisors there. There was no military presence, and it fell very quickly, Saigon, much quicker than anybody expected. So the U.S. said, let's just get the Americans out. But the people on the ground said, not so fast. And they knew if they left them behind, they could be tortured, they could be killed, they could spend years in re-education camps, which is in fact what happened. And so they said, we're going to do it to save these people. And it's really an extraordinary story that actually makes you proud of these Americans.
Oh my Lord, beyond proud, because you know, all I really knew of Richard Armitage was that he was a Republican guy and he was a politician, and there was some stuff about Valerie Plame. And when I watched this documentary, I want to throw a parade in his honor. This man himself saved over 30,000 lives against the orders on his own, just because his moral fiber told him, I cannot not save them. And his son called you to tell you what?
His son had seen the film a few months ago and wrote me a note saying thank you for making this film and telling this story, because I never heard it before.
One thing that
he never told his family.
This was sort of the humility and the pride of that generation of the people that were there. Right at the outset of the documentary, you show what happened on the ground in the immediate aftermath of Nixon's resignation. I was stunned to see that if there was one good piece of his legacy, it was that they were actually afraid of him, and that the minute he was gone, the documentary shows, right, it's Vietnamese, the minute he was gone, the documentary explains what happened, and they rolled on.
You know, I think that the North was going to come to the South no matter what, but when Nixon resigned, they considered him a madman, and
they were afraid of him.
They were, I think they were afraid of him, and perhaps for good reason, I don't know, but in any case, they saw a vulnerability there, and they came in to the northern part of South Vietnam initially to see if America would come back with the troops. Oops, we didn't come back, and so they thought it was going to take 2 years to get to Saigon, and it actually took 4 months.
Right.
There was an amazing scene where people left, 400 people left at the American embassy, and there was the last plane out, and the man had to tell them, knowing that it was a lie, we're going to come back and get you, and he had to leave them there, and it was the most heart-wrenching part of the documentary. But tell us what happened when you premiered the film.
Yeah, so this was Stuart Harrington, who was really one of the many heroes in our film. He went to the top of the embassy, and he got on a helicopter and left, and he looked down and saw the 420 and thought, I can't believe we've done this as a country, and I've done this as a person. And he lived in fear all of his life of running into one of those 420, and we interviewed one of them for our film, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. So then after the screening, they all came up on stage, and Stuart Harrington, along with Binh Pho, who was one of the 420 he left behind, were on stage together, and everybody was very teary because it was the first time they had seen it. But Stu Harrington talked about how he lived in fear, and then Binh Pho grabbed the microphone and said, I want you to know I forgive you. And it was just this extraordinary moment, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Where did you get all this archived footage?
I was talking to a guy who worked in the U.S. Navy and telling him about the film, that I wanted to focus on the USS Kirk. And he said, oh, you know, I have a friend who was on the Kirk at this time, and he was telling me how he was in his attic a few months ago and came across a box of undeveloped Super 8 footage from the Kirk in 1975. So what you're just watching there is his footage of these extraordinary ships. He documents this story that I talked about earlier of the Chinook, where the family jumped helicopters landing on the ship. It's a really amazing story. And
it's an extraordinary movie. It's a documentary, and it's out in theaters now. It's getting 100% positive review on Rotten Tomatoes, which is nearly impossible. 2 times. It is absolutely heartbreakingly brilliant. You're a wonderful documentary filmmaker and an amazing human being. Rory Kennedy, thank you. Rory Kennedy, thank you for being here. Last Days in Vietnam in select theaters now. We'll be right back after this.